a pleasure to be here. Um, I want to thank Zach for creating today and the Hatch in general, and creating a platform where people with like minds can get together and share and collaborate and bring ideas to life. I'm a chef, business owner, entrepreneur now. I think all of our goal is to do two things. It's to be able to do what we really love, to do what we're really passionate about, and at the same time, be able to make a living, make a life out of doing that. And over the last couple of years, I've found a way to do that. Um, but before I do that, I want to kind of take a step back, walk you a little bit through my journey and how I've gotten here and some of the lessons I've learned and what I think moving forward we all kind of need to look at in terms of the business we build and how we relate to our customers and the communities around us. Um, I went to the University of Alabama, got a double major in English and Spanish, realized early on that those two degrees weren't going to get me anything. So I went back and got a master's in marketing. I was from Atlanta, I'm from Atlanta, so I moved back to Atlanta and got in consulting. I was super pumped to get into advertising. Um, I show up first day, wear my suit and tie, and ready to rock and roll. After a year and a half of doing spreadsheets that I hated and working on Excel spreadsheets, I guess, I realized I couldn't do it anymore. I was sitting at a desk all day and I hated it. I'm super ADD, and I worked in restaurants all through high school, college, at the time I had a catering company with my brother. So I quit, moved up here to Virginia, and opened up a three-way cafe over here on Plume Street. And since then, that was about 6 years ago, have grown that business. And along the way, I created another brand called Bachelor, which is a online, really kind of where my personal brand intersects with food and cooking. And I've had the opportunity to cook in various events. Like Zach said, I'm headed to South by Southwest tomorrow morning and get to travel around doing TV stations all over the kind of East Coast. So it's really cool to see. And I've been able to build a following that people actually appreciate what I do, and I'm able to engage and connect with people like in a way that's really important to me. I'm in the process of opening another restaurant in Atlanta, and excited to kind of see where that goes. But along the way, as I think we all, as entrepreneurs and business people, have encountered and have heard today, that there's challenges that I faced when I opened up the restaurant. I was, most of us starting out, don't really have a name for ourselves. I was hustling my ass off. I was working at nights to pay the bills to kind of stay afloat, and then working the restaurant for 8 hours a day, doing that. Not getting paid for really the first 3 years or so that we were open. Plus, I was working on recipes, working on writing, working on content for my Bachelor Kitchen brand. So, long story short, I was working 100-hour weeks, kind of just getting by for what seemed like forever. It was probably a couple of years, and I think we've all been there before, where we feel like, God, I don't know how much more of this I can take. My back's against the wall. Like, I can't pay bills. I have my own set of payroll stories that they're a nightmare. To start my Bachelor Kitchen brand, I took money that my mom passed away. She had left for us, so I took that money and put it into building this business. And then not too long after that, I kind of got stabbed in the back by a business partner. So it's kind of one thing after the next, and really saying, how am I going to make this work? What am I going to do? And I think the first thing to do is to know that if you can take a step back and say, I believe in this enough to make sure that I'm going to keep going no matter what. I believe in myself. I believe in this idea, this product, this service. And if I can take a step back and breathe, and allows me to focus better, allows me to connect to the work better, and in turn, I think helps create the business that we're all trying to get to. So I think knowing that the challenges are going to come up, the issues are always there. That's part, I think, the fun of creating something is building something that takes hard work, that takes showing up every single day to put your heart and soul into. And I just want to encourage all you guys, if you're out there dealing with all these hurdles, with all these struggles, to just keep showing up, to not give in to, the world says you're supposed to live this kind of 9 to 5 life. You're supposed to have the picket fence and have the family and the kids and retire by 65. But maybe it's not that simple. And maybe we can find other ways to create success and create fulfillment in our lives. And Zach mentioned the TED Talk that I gave with him. I've realized that part of what is exciting is the climb, is being able to do the work you love, and at the end of the day, knowing that you put your heart and soul into something, and not being 70 or 80 or 90 years old and saying, hey, I wish I would have done this, I would have tried that, and just kind of pushing all your chips in the pot, cutting the ropes behind you, and giving it a shot. But here we are in business. We're at a kind of a paradigm shift. It's the biggest culture shift we've probably ever seen in the world. It's our industrial revolution. I think the last kind of big shift was when Henry Ford invented the car, and the factories kind of got rolling. But here we are today with social media, with the way we interact on our smartphones, and the way we connect with people is so different than ever before. And we need to understand the customer, as we've heard today before. We also need to understand our product and how to best interact with those people in a way that we can tell our story. At the end of the day, as business owners, as brands, as human beings, that's our job. And if people can't connect with what we're doing, they can't connect with our story and what we are about, then they're going to find some other way to do it. We all have our phones and we're scrolling through our Facebook feeds, our Twitter feeds, and what's going to make that potential customer, consumer, or person out there that's following you, that's hopefully paying attention, what's going to make them pay attention? And if you can give them something of value, something that they can connect with, then they're going to say, oh, this guy's pretty cool. And I've been able to do that through my recipes, but also through writing. I had the opportunity. I wrote an article on actually this medium.com back in October, and it went pretty crazy viral. It was a letter I wrote to chefs, and over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, it's gotten 500,000 views. And right after it started going viral, I got an email from somebody, and then another one. And over the first month and a half, I probably got 500 emails. And I started responding to those first couple ones, and I said, you know what? I don't know how many are going to come in, but I'm going to respond to every single person that takes the opportunity to connect with me. And as a result, they believed a lot more in who I was. They were able to connect with the story I wrote to them, but then they see that I'm real and I'm human, and as a result, I've been able to create additional following, additional people that believe in what I have to offer, and believe in who I am. I think we have to, in telling our story, be genuine and authentic. We have to put it out there in a way that people know that we're real. Not a funny example. I'm on Instagram, and a lot of similar kind of followers, people you connect with, are in the chef world. And there's this one lady who has a story probably similar to mine. I think she has a blog, and she does some TV stuff and shares her recipes out there. And she liked like a dozen of my pictures in a row, and oh, that's cool, that's great. And she leaves a couple comments, and I start to see her interact more. So I interact back with her and say, hey, thank you so much. And long story short, I realized there's a pattern developing. Over the course of probably 2 or 3 months, she would leave a comment on various photos, and it always have hashtag impressive. And then I realized one day, probably about a month ago, that 2 or 3 of my pictures had the exact same comment of hashtag impressive from the same lady. And I realized here's somebody that's trying to connect, but in the completely wrong way. And there's so many businesses and brands and people out there that are doing the exact same thing. So many restaurants out there are saying, hey, here are our happy hour specials. Come check us out. Here's buy my book, give to my charity, whatever it is. How can we first get them to believe in what we're doing, and then on the back end, hopefully get the sale? The guy Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm going to do this event for the weekend. he talks a lot about relationships and business and how he always wants to have 51% of the relationship on his side, giving the other person 49%. Meaning, if he can put in 51% of the energy, he's still getting 49% return, which is great. But if you have that 51% that you're putting in, you can then leverage that down the road to buy his book, for me, come to my restaurant, or whatever it is. And in a similar way, I tweeted out yesterday, hey guys, I'm coming to Austin for South by Southwest. I will be there Saturday and Sunday. If anybody knows of a place to stay, let me know. And within an hour, I got a message from somebody in an email, and a girl said, hey, I got the couch you can stay on. And I said, great. How much is it? And she said, I'm not going to charge you anything. Just come on out. I know you're probably spending a lot of money over the course of the weekend, and sit in this PDF of a bunch of things with her house, with her dog. If the dog gets out, here's what you should do. Here's you should park, all those kinds of things. And here's a lady that she didn't have anything to gain from this. She wasn't making any money. There wasn't really a business transaction. But who knows where the relationship could go? Maybe she's a designer. Maybe she's in web development, whatever it is. Putting yourself in a position where you can leverage any relationship later on down the road, not in a selfish way, but in a way that shows who you are, I think is super important. And I think moving forward, that's kind of the way that we have to really connect with the world. There's so many choices out there. How am I doing something that's different? How am I doing something that's unique, that's interesting, that hasn't been done before? Or if there's something similar, how can I do it in a way that is connected back to who I am? And I think a lot of that's being self-aware, knowing, as we kind of heard the other day, of what am I good at? What are my strengths? What are things I'm not good at? And really tapping into those things that are your core strengths, and then using those to create the best business possible. So, I think we're really at the cusp of something huge, and this whole internet thing, this whole social media is not going anywhere. And we all have the opportunity to build platforms, to build companies, to build communities, as long as people are out there that want to connect with us. So I just encourage everyone to look at your life, your business, and know that the opportunity is there if you take it. The problem is so many of us get so excited about the idea. I like to use the analogy of a wedding versus a marriage. So many of us have our friends, and maybe even some of us have done it. Not me yet, thank God, but
it's recording.
Yeah, we'll black that out somehow. But we're all so caught up in the idea of the wedding, of having this wonderful, great day, and it's gonna be perfect, and we totally forget about down the line this relationship that needs being attended to, and needs being built. And we're so, I think we so get caught up in what we think can be a possibility, and get lost doing that versus actually building something that takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of energy, it takes going all in. And I think if we can do that, stay grounded, stay focused on who we are, what we're good at, and try and connect with people around us, then we can build amazing businesses. So that's what I got. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Yeah.
What brought you to Norfolk from Atlanta? Like a larger city, really.
Yeah. I was originally planning on being here for about 6 months or so. I had some plans back in Atlanta, over a restaurant. They fell through. But my cousin actually owns Baxter's, which I don't like to claim per se, because his idea of restaurants and food are very dissimilar from mine. But he and I went in business together. Yeah. But yeah, I was initially came up here to work for him for about 4 to 6 months, which was going to be learning kind of the office operational side of things. I would take that back with me and do a farm table thing back in Atlanta. Okay. Which in retrospect, I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't have the experience. I probably wouldn't have succeeded the way I could now.
Did you like the area when you came? Is that what kept you here?
To be honest, I didn't like the area. it was just very it's very unique. I think Amy can agree with the fact that it's not your typical market. I feel like it was very kind of disconnected. You had all these 7 cities that were vicinity wise connected by tunnels and by bridges and by military, but I felt like the market didn't really appreciate the food that I really wanted to offer, and but I started. We opened the restaurant. I started to get some friends and all those kinds of things. So it started to kind of make it home.
And does it feel like it's connecting a little bit more? Like,
I think so. I think downtown. I think having people like John and Ghent and the Arts District and people like that bringing good blood down this way has definitely helped. Absolutely. Yeah.
How did you come up with the name Greenway Cafe?
Oh man, we were yeah. Our shirt says something like that. There's originally 3 of us owners. There's only 2 of us now. So like there's like already 5 guys. There's already so we're just kind of playing around and like, oh well, the older demographic didn't really seem to get like the innuendo and felt like it was a little bit of a talking point.
Anyone else?
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Chris.